My light bulb moment. So I just got back last night from crossing the pond, which Jason has crossed the pond and now spends his career over in the US. But for me, it's infrequent. I was over in Ireland for a conference. And I guess my light bulb moment from the conference is having spent some time with some other members of the global community, the global professional beauty community, is how good we have it over here, as well as how much further we are in certain business practices. Now that's come up to me when I've done other programs internationally. I've done several programs in Italy. And I'm just always reminded that from a business systems and structure, as well as trends, we seem to be about 5 years, at least by their own assertion, in talking to people, especially from the UK. And so I'm super grateful that we have such talented people in this country and leaders such as Jason. And I'm thankful for Jason's home country to have him share his talents over here. So anyway, without further ado, I want to invite Jason to the conversation. Good morning, Jason. How are you?
Good morning, Tom. Happy New Year. Hello, everybody. Thank you for having me on today. I'm excited to learn more myself.
You know, I'm deep into Jason, as you know, and just about everybody else knows that participate in this roundtable, is that a career in pro beauty is something that can be quite prosperous and wonderful. And the way for people to express themselves in this industry is amazing. And one of the reasons that I wanted to have a conversation with you, Jason, is that you were a hairdresser.
Yeah, I still have a license. Yeah, I still have a Texas cosmetology license nowadays.
So when people from outside the industry look at a career in beauty, they have a very narrow definition, but you're a testament to the types of options that are available to a hairdresser. But for someone to raise to the heights that you've risen to is quite incredible. And, you know, I met you at a couple of conferences, and just there was something about your demeanor that said, I just got to invite this guy into the conversation. So thank you for joining us.
No, thank you for having me. It's been
and,
quite
you know,
the ride.
We don't know each other very well. We're getting to know each other a little bit here, but, you know, certainly some of the characteristics that just jumped out at me is your humility, your honesty, and you're a talented guy, man. I mean, someone that has followed the path that you've been on suggests a lot of talent. So again, thanks for joining us today.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I've been very blessed in my career for sure.
So, you know, and when you say you've been very blessed in your career, could you give me a synopsis of what that means to you?
I mean, blessed with opportunities. I'm blessed, I guess, with the courage to make the right decisions. You know, life is all about opportunities and taking them. And, you know, I've made some good decisions along the way, worked hard and had a little bit of luck as well, and right place, right time, and had a lot of great mentors along the way. And, you know, you put that all together, and it's really, it's amazing. I still pinch myself when I hear those words, Jason Yates, the president of such a large company that I admired for so long. Yeah.
Now you have to have a lot of talents and wear a lot of hats to be in a role like that. And so you really grew up as a hairdresser. You were a platform artist. You're involved in a 20 location business. And here you are today. And you have to have a lot of different skills. So tell me just a little bit now, you know, your background was put in the invite, but I'm just going to share it with people anyway here. So you began almost 30 years ago as a hairdresser in the UK. You went from an apprentice to a manager, a director, eventually for a group of 22 salons. You also worked as a platform artist and educator for a hair care manufacturer. And then that opened up new career paths for you. You joined JPMS in 2012 as VP of Marketing. And then you became the first ever VP of Sales and Marketing in the history of the company. And then you're with your hands-on experience in every facet of the industry, you were appointed president and you oversee the company's global daily operations. That's a lot of pressure, man.
Yeah, and I'm still smiling too, right? So You asked me that this morning. You said you look pretty young for a guy that holds this position, but I put it down to doing what I love and doing it with people I love doing it with and for. Like I say, I've been very blessed to be in this career because I've just enjoyed it from word go. And I've just always looked at the next run on the ladder. I never tried to see too far ahead. But certainly, if you do ask me even 10 years ago, would I be in this seat now? I don't know. I don't know if I would have said yes. I mean, it's nice to dream about, but I think it's important to stay focused on where you are and what's next. That way it's more achievable.
We had an interesting conversation about math, and
Yeah.
this is a financial roundtable, although we touch upon many subjects here, but I thought it was interesting for you to describe your journey with math.
Mm-hmm.
And how math makes a difference in what you do on a day-to-day basis.
Right. Well, even back into my early career. So I left high school in the UK at 15 to be a hairdresser. I did an apprenticeship. And quite honestly, I'll be completely honest, I didn't really enjoy school. I couldn't wait to get out of school, hence why I left as soon as I could. I wanted to work. I wanted to do something with my hands. I love talking to people and meeting people. So hairdressing seemed like a great natural path for me. But I realized quite quickly in my journey behind the chair how important math was. And, by realizing how much more money I could make from selling retail and how much money I could make from, upgrading my average tickets. And, so quite quickly, I realized I had a skill I never even knew I had because I didn't pay that much attention, to be honest, at school. I just did as little as possible to get through. Yeah, quite quickly, I realized what an important tool math was and how that helped me individually. And then later on, when I became a salon manager, it really helped me. And then as I became, running multiple salon locations, just more important. And every step along the way, it was really, really important. And I know a lot of hairdressers, struggle with that being, more of the creative side. So, that's something that has given me a little bit of an edge along the way, for sure.
So this is a question. We didn't prep for any of this. We just had a nice conversation here,
Sure.
and I'm gonna throw one at you here. And when you hear about data, so I'm going to go to the compensation study just for a quick moment here.
Mm-hmm.
When you hear about data, or groups out there publishing about the professional beauty industry having near poverty level earnings. Actually would run report by a very well-funded organization. And it was the first 5 times in my career I heard that phrase, and I heard it 5 times in the same report, near poverty level earnings.
Mm-hmm.
What's your reaction to that?
It's disappointing to hear. When I first got into this career, a lot of my friends were like, why are you being a hairdresser? That's what, there's such a stigma around our industry, which still to this day, like, really upsets me. Hairdressers are stupid. They don't make any money. Like, why would you want to do that? And, that's so wrong. Hairdressers are talented, passionate, creative people that can really make a difference to people's lives and deserve to be compensated accordingly for it. And in a lot of senses, hairdressers, do very well, make a lot of money, but there are some that don't do that well. And I think the reason they don't do that well is because of poor management of the money. And, of course, a lot of this business is still cash business, and a lot of it doesn't get reported. So that definitely skews the numbers. But yeah, I mean, one of the reasons I decided when I came to the US to stay is because I saw that the US is so far ahead for hairdressers here than the UK. In the UK, it's definitely more limiting. You kind of get painted in a box. This is what a hairdresser can make, and that's it. In the US, there's none of those restrictions that you can really do whatever you want to do. So it's disappointing to see that stigma's around our industry. I'm very close to schools with our school network, and it's a challenge, and deregulation's a challenge. When you have future professionals graduating and they have student debt, and then they're reporting earnings which are small, it's putting a lot of pressure on our industry, period. So we need to do a better job, and I applaud the compensation study, and and the education that you're offering to salon owners and stylists, because it's very needed in our industry.
Well, I also want to thank Paul Mitchell and for the advocacy with the compensation study. I know Kristen Farrell, who we both know very well.
Yeah.
Personally, I think she said she personally made like 100 calls, which is a big commitment. So I very much respect you, your brand, and your team. And so here's a guy that was a hairdresser, didn't necessarily have a lot of schooling, didn't love schooling. And now you're running a business with, you probably have a bunch of MBAs. You have very talented people, and I'm sure several of them on the call. So tell me what's that like?
Well, you know, I've kind of chased this my whole career. You know, I was always, even when I was in the salons, I was always like the youngest assistant manager, the youngest manager, the youngest trainer. When I moved to the US and I was art director in my late 20s, you know, I've always kind of had people around me that had more experience and, you know, more qualifications, but I've learned to trust in my own abilities, but also not try and be the expert or the best at everything. I think a good leader leans on his team and know what you're good at, know what you're not so good at, and let everybody really bring the maximum potential to the room. That's, to me, that's what a good leader does. We have a lot of smart people within the company, but what's very, very important to John Paul and Paul when they started the company is the voice of the hairdresser. And we know that the success of this company is really built upon hairdressers and hairdressers being successful behind the chair. So having that hairdresser voice, you mentioned another one a minute ago, Kristen Farrell is also a hairdresser. She's an executive with the company. We have a good blend at John Paul Mitchell Systems of very, very smart business people that have backgrounds in other industries, in other sectors, have MBAs, even some double MBAs. And then we have a lot of smart people who've been, you know, grown up in this business, and some of them hairdressers. And I think it's a nice blend of experiences that we have and mutual respect. And yeah, it works really well at John Paul Mitchell Systems. You know, I didn't always work at John Paul Mitchell Systems. I worked for another manufacturer before where there was some of that, but the level of respect for hairdressers at Paul Mitchell is not just, they don't just talk it, they walk it. And I think I'm testament to that. I mean, how many companies of this size would put a hairdresser that left school at 15 in charge of running the day-to-day operations? So, you know, I don't take that lightly. I respect it. And yeah, I lean heavily on the team. It's a big job, as you said earlier, but we have a lot of people. And I think my role is to get the best out of those people and to always make sure that the voice of the hairdresser stays at the front of everything we do.
So what, Jason, if anything, keeps you up at night?
There's a lot of things that keep me up at night, but you know, I have a, listen, I think our industry is going to be fine. I do. I don't see a day where salons are going to become irrelevant and stylists are going to become irrelevant, but we are going through challenging time in our industry where there's a lot of pressure being put on the way we do things and the way salons operate. So of course, what keeps me up at night is how do we stay there for our salons during the time when they need us most? And you know, as things in the world change and blur, I think it's super, super important that we stay focused on salons, and we're doing everything we can to do that. But I'm also optimistic about the future, because I think, like any evolution, yeah, there's going to be some salons that don't make it. There's going to be some stylists that don't make it, and that's sad. But the ones that do are going to become better for it. They're going to become stronger for it, and they're going to recover and grow and you know, breed more salon owners down the line. I certainly think it's something that it's hard to go through, but after you go through it, if I look at our business, what we've just been through with the pandemic, we're a better business than we were before. And I'm sure you would say that probably about your own business, Tom, and about a lot of business owners that got through it. It forces you to innovate and change, and you become stronger because of it. But not everybody's going to make it, and that's okay. I think that's natural. I think that's a natural progress.
So what are you working on these days? I mean, are there a few projects that are just top of mind for you that you've I'm sure there's hundreds of initiatives that go on at any given time, but for you personally, are there 2 or 3 projects or 2 or 3 initiatives that are just really driving how you spend your days?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. Just running the day-to-day operations, obviously, is takes a lot of time. But as far as like initiatives, one of the things that that we really try to leverage hard at John Paul Mitchell Systems is the fact that we have an amazing network of schools, and we're graduating about 14,000 future professionals every year. And finding them homes is really, really important. And I know right now, one of the things salons need more than ever is what talented, motivated hairdressers that are passionate about the industry and want to contribute. So I really think we need to do a better job of connecting with salons and letting them know that we're not just a company that sells products. We're a company that can provide you with talented future professionals that can contribute to your business success. So that's a big one for me. We do place a lot of our future professionals in salons that I think are the right fit for them, but I just think we need to do a better job of making the salon community aware of we have these amazing talented people. So that's an important one for me. Of course, what's important for me as well is take-home sales is an important part of a salon's revenue. And as a salon owner, you make a lot more profit on selling retail than you do necessarily on services because of the commissions associated with both. So anything that John Paul Mitchell Systems that we can do to help keep those retail sales in the salon. And it's hard now because retail is readily available and through lots of mediums, and it's hard for salons. So I still believe heavily in the professional recommendation and the power of having that guest in the chair. I think they will definitely prefer to buy from you. However, I think what manufacturers need to do a better job of is giving salons opportunities to retail something that is only available from them, something that's been curated. So personalization is something that's very intriguing to me, and being able to offer personalization for salons where they can custom mix formulas for their guests that they can only get from their stylist that are tailored to them on their hair condition that day. I think there's something in that's really important. We're working on it. I know a lot of manufacturers are working on it. I think we have some exciting innovation coming there in the next year or two. And I think that'll be great for salons because that will give them a competitive edge on product availability because they can, give that professional recommendation based upon their skills of analyzing the hair condition on that day.
I was going to ask you about innovation and
sorry.
No, that's good. I mean, I want to stay with that. So obviously you're addressing areas where some innovation is needed here on the human capital side, as well as take home sales. And do you want to give us a glimpse at any innovation that you're working on right now or innovation type projects?
Honestly, I would love to, but I'd get in trouble with the marketing team.
All right, we'll leave it at there. I won't.
I always talk too much. I always get told, no, we're not ready yet. But yeah, I'm excited about what we're doing. I really believe in it. And, often I say too much, so I'll just keep it to what we shared. But yeah, personalization is something that's important. I think it's going to be a nice emerging category for salons where they can custom make formulas for their guests.
So here we are, we're just a little over a week into the new year. And what does 2023 look like for you and the company? It's a big question.
Yeah. So for me, when we finished 2020, we were, oh my God, thank God we made it. We're really looking forward to 2021. And then, obviously supply chain challenges, and that went into 2022. So 2023, we're really hoping that, those kind of big headstorms that we've faced the last 3 years are behind us. And it really, touch wood, looks like they are. We're in an excellent inventory position. Our products never been in more demand. We finished the last year, our sales were above projection. They were the year before. So the company's on a good growth trajectory. Despite we've had a lot of supply chain issues like many of our competitors in 21 and going into 22, we feel like that's behind us for the most part now. We're also excited about our launch calendar for 2023. We've really been on hold with launching a lot of products over the past 2 years because our focus has been on getting in stock with our everyday products. So 2023 is a year of getting back into launching new products and looking at new opportunities, new categories. I'm also particularly excited about our European market. We are very, very strong globally, but predominantly our business is in the US, and we see a lot of upside potential in the European market. So we have some new initiatives in Europe. We just hired a new general manager for Europe. We're really putting down more roots in Europe with a new European operation. So that's something that's excited to me, as we look into 23 and beyond.
Yeah. So let's talk about making an impact. And you seem like the type of guy where making an impact is very important to you. So what type of impact do you think you can make on this industry? And if we were to look back and be out 10 years or something like that, and you made a massive impact, what would that look like to you?
An impact on the industry. Well, I think I kind of touched on it. A big impact on the industry would be helping salon owners to, first of all, recruit talent and then keep it. So I think we're in a better position than most of our competitors to do that with the school network. I think also the work that you're doing, the financial literacy for salon owners and stylists is super important because, I know a lot of hairdressers. I talk to a lot of salon owners, and I know it's a struggle. And stylists, they're so creative, which is great, but they really do not, they kind of ignore the financial part of the business, and it's super important. So, the work you're doing and a lot of the work we're doing at JPMS to improve financial literacy, I think that is important and will have a big impact on the industry. So, continuing to make sure, even though we've had a migration of people out of the industry, I think it's important because it's such a wonderful industry to keep making sure we have new, fresh blood coming in the industry and then setting them up and preparing them for success. So, of course, we're a product manufacturer. We make and sell products, but for us, what's important is having that strong salon community because, listen, John Paul and Paul said it in 1980. If they were fortunate enough to make it with this company, it would be because hairdressers believed in them and, that they would never turn their back on hairdressers. And that remains true today. So, the biggest impacts we can make is keeping the salon community strong and being there for them and having one focus. A lot of our competitors, and no disrespect to them, they have many businesses. They have a retail business, they have a professional business, they have a mass business. We don't. We have one business, and our business is professional, making sure salons are successful behind the chair, and everything that we do is really laser focused on that.
Paul Mitchell, when the pandemic came, you were called out by several parties as providing some exemplary type reaction, so in terms of making an impact. I know you brought that up when we spoke too, is how you reacted to the pandemic, what you did, how you did it, when you did it. And I know that you brought that up when we had a prep call, but I already heard that from several other parties. So that has to be a subject of great pride for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's testament, really, I have to say, to the owners, John Paul and Angus. In March 2020 was scary. It really was. It was unprecedented. Nobody had been through anything like it before. We weren't sure how long it was going to last, what was going to happen. But literally, like many of our salons closed overnight, we were shut down overnight. We have a large staff, we have large overheads, we have lots of bills, and overnight, you can't sell product, you can't make product. All the salons closed, all the distributors closed, and very quickly, you go into reaction mode, and it's like, what are we going to do? And what I loved about our owners is never once did they say, oh my God, we have to furlough people. Oh my God, we have to pull back. We have to cut back. They didn't say any of that. first thing that they said is, wow, I wonder what salons are going to be able to do. I wonder if we'll have any customers left when this thing is over. And very quickly, where I heard a lot of our competitors were furloughing their sales teams and education teams. And first of all, John Paul and Angus had a town hall with us, and they told everybody, don't worry about your job. You've got your job. We don't care how long this lasts. You will be paid. Secondly, we came very quickly to the decision that we're supposed to have had a gathering, which for those of you that don't know, gathering is an event that we used to have pre-pandemic every other year, where we invited 3,000 salons to Las Vegas. It's an expensive event. It costs the company millions and millions of dollars to hold that event. Well, obviously we knew we weren't going to do it. So what we asked our owners is, can we take that budget, which was significant, and can we reinvest that into giving packages of products away to, first of all, our focus and signature salons, which is our salon of our network salons. Can we give them significant packages of products so that when their doors open after they've been shut for 6 weeks, or in some cases months, they don't have to worry about buying product, because that's, you know, a significant line item expense for salons is stocking product. So very quickly, I mean, this is what I love about our company. I can make one phone call to Angus and JP and they'll say yes, and we do it. You know, there's no rounds of approvals. We don't take 6 months to make a decision. So we did, and those product packages went out. You know, we were ready. We mobilized extremely quickly. We were ready to send products out, and as soon as salons were opening, they were greeted with very large packages of professional products. We wanted to make sure, because we knew that's how they could make a lot more money quickly and get some cash flow again by producing services. So yeah, we did that, and obviously we got so many testimonials from our customers, literally tears running down their face. They were so happy, but it had a halo effect beyond that. You know, I had many of my industry colleagues calling me saying, wow, you know, kudos to Paul Mitchell. You know, we were told we, you know, had to cut back, we had to pull back, and you doubled down. And that just says a lot about our owners, that they, you know, they're in it for the long haul, and they really want to take care of the salons, because without them, you know, we wouldn't be successful today. That's for sure.
So something that I think is interesting is leadership at the top in your company, and you described your emergence into the new role, and then also what you do compared to McAleen, and how it mirrors sort of your predecessor. So, you know, it takes a lot of talents, and it takes clear roles, and it takes different areas of focus at the top. So I wanted to describe your role as it relates to McAleen, and then how that might parallel the role of your predecessors. Sure.
So McAleen grew up in the industry. I mean, for those of you that don't know, McAleen DeJoria is our CEO. She's John Paul DeJoria's daughter. She chose very early on to be in this business. She didn't need to be in this business. She grew up in it. She learned every facet of the business, but she's not a hairdresser. She went to fashion school. She's, you know, she has a very, very good consumer eye. She definitely leads the creative vision of the company, the way we look, the way we feel. She's very involved in product, and works very closely with the marketing and creative teams. Works very, very closely with the digital teams on our digital footprint and strategy. And it is really extremely smart and much more talented in those areas than I. I have focused in more on the voice of the hairdresser, the customer, the distributor relationship, the relationship with the different functional heads of the company. And I'm working more in the day-to-day operations, but her and I work very, very closely together. She was instrumental in bringing me in almost 11 years ago. And every step along my way, she's been right there with me. And her and I, you know, we finish each other's sentences. We really, you know, we really get along very, very well. And, you know, she knows where to come in, and I know where to step back, and vice versa. And we really don't tread on each other's toes. We work very, very well together, and there's a great mutual respect with each other, because we both bring different complementing skills. And I would say that really mirrors the former leadership of the company, which was Luke Jacobalis, who hired me, who retired last year. He was the president of the company from 1989 until 2001. So very stable, great mentor to me. A guy that was extremely smart, but more than smart, wise, very wise. And I learned a lot of leadership techniques from him. He worked with John Paul DeJoria as the CEO, very similarly to how I work with Michaeline DeJoria. So those two worked together for a long time. Now Michaeline and I are very proud to kind of take on the reins for last 2 years now. And yeah, we're excited about the future. I mean, we're both fairly young. Michaeline's younger than me. And one thing that this company has always been good at is not making emotional decisions, keeping things for the long haul, being stable. And I think that's good. I think that's what you need in a world of chaos, right? Where there's crazy things happening, where you can make quick reactions. It's good to have stable owners that hire good people, put them in the right position, and then allow them time to flourish. And so many of the big corporations don't do that. You know, if they miss one quarter of a couple bad board meetings, it's boom, new people in. And you know, a lot of the times the people they bring in don't understand the industry, don't understand the company, and you lose a lot of that history that the company has. I mean, this company's been very successful for 42 years. And although I'm fairly new in my role, there's a lot of things we're doing right. My job is to continue to do those things right and look where I can, you know, enhance and add new things that are going to add value.
Yeah, I think I need to have more beauty executives on Lightbulb Moments, and I think you're one of the first beauty executives, and it was just pure curiosity in meeting you, and you know, and I very much admire how you describe the relationship with you and Michaeline too. It's really a great model for other businesses to follow. You have a meeting coming up, and I'm going to let you go. You've been very generous with your time, but I got to ask you a couple personal questions. So tell me a little bit about your family, you know.
Yeah. So I met my wife 13 years ago on a plane. You know, I'm a busy guy, traveling all the time, working all the time. So she's a flight attendant for Qnity. It was Continental Airlines. Yeah, we met on a plane. We got married 2 years later, and literally when I was on my honeymoon in May 2012, I got the call from John Gollier at BSG saying that Paul Mitchell was interested in speaking to me. So I got married, got the job at Paul Mitchell, moved from Texas to California, had a wonderful ride since. Yeah, so I don't have any children, but she has a son from a previous marriage. So he was 8 when we met. He's 21 now. He's a Marine. I'm very proud of him. Yeah, it's good. I've been very blessed. Yeah. My mother and father are still alive. They're in England, so I see them as much as I can. I love them dearly. I speak to them 2-3 times a week. And yeah, that's it. I work a lot and I love my family. And this company is really allowed me to understand the importance of work-life balance. I mean, they really encourage you to, you know, spend time at home, don't burn out, don't work too long. We want you for the long haul, and we want you to be happy. And they understand if you're happy at home, you're going to, you know, deliver better results at work.
And if you have free time, how do you like to spend it?
If I have free time, how do I like to spend it? Just hanging out with my wife, to be honest. She's my best friend. She's been a great supporter of mine. You know, I certainly wouldn't be where I am today without her support, for sure. So yeah, I gotta say, I just love hanging out with the wife. I do have one hobby that I love. I keep a coral reef at home. It's really complex and difficult and expensive to do, but I love it. It's very rewarding, and it's what I do to unplug and unwind. It really kind of takes me away, and it's beautiful to look at. I'll show you sometime, Tom, if you ever come to LA.
I'll take that as an invitation. I would love to see it. Jason, you're an incredible guy. You're an inspiring guy. You were described as being humble, and you're humble, you're smart, you make an impact. So let's everybody join us and giving Jason a virtual round of applause. Give this guy a shout out before he hangs up. I'd like to officially welcome you into the Brain Trust, which means you get the $1 million light bulb. We'll probably be asking for an address from Marla, who's been great to work with. Scheduling with someone that's as busy as you is something we don't take for granted. You spend your time with us, and I know this is very early in your day, and I'm sure you have 1,000 things ahead of you. So I just want to give you a big shout out and thanks again for all the work that you do and spending time with us today, Jason.
Thank you for having me on, and thank you for what you do for our industry. We really appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, my friend. We'll see you later. Thank you.
Bye-bye.